Welcome back. So you're back with me, the OG commentator, right here on CADEsport. My name is Mark Allard-Will, and I'm guiding you today through today's Pro Power races. So let's take a look at what we have coming up today. So the first one, the first map, the first race, if you will, is going to be Country Rally, which is brand new here on CADEsport. It is 6.1 kilometers, 5 laps of 1.2 kilometers apiece. And also, this is a brand new map, as I said, but it is also a mountain bike map, showing that we have different disciplines right here on CADEsport, not just road cycling. We also have mountain bike. And we're going to have track as well, which we're going to see more of as we develop into the future. Race 2 is going to be the hilly road. We've done this run before, go into the Sun Road Smash. And so this is a fantastic one, very hilly and lots of tight corners. That's 10 kilometers, 2 laps, 5 kilometers a piece. Then finally, we have the Barnyard Velo for race 3, another mountain bike map. You would have seen this one on Thursday when I was in the race as well. I can attest for sure this is a difficult one, lots of obstacles. It looks very straight and very simplistic, but don't let that fool you. It's going to be a fun one for sure. So without further ado, let's join our caders, our racers, as they're going to as they're preparing. But before we do have a look at what power-ups are in play today. We've got the power plant, which adds on 100 watts onto your active power for race 1, a quantity of 3, and it has a 10-second usage time, 10-second recharge time. Race 2, great responsibility, and it truly is a case of with great power comes great responsibility, because it will add on a huge 2,500 watts of power, something that would make literally any rider in the Tour de France jealous. There's a quantity of 2 of those. It's a big 1-minute recharge time and a very short 5-second usage time. So it sounds like huge power, but realistically, it's just a big, short, sharp boost of power. And in race 3, we've got the corner caper, which seems like a fair one to use, actually, given the context of that race. It's a 10-second usage time, and again, a 1-minute recharge time, a quantity of 2. So caders are going to want to use this one sparingly. So let's jump on over, and we can see our riders here as they are beginning to warm up. In the lower right there, I believe we're focusing on Erhan. And in the top left, we've got Sebastian Kuhn. And Sebastian is a mountain bike rider from the info we've seen on his rider card before. So he is going to be at home here. Homer's a big power guy, so we'll see what he can bring to the table as a challenge. And here we are right on this start line, ready for the opening gun, if you will. So here we go, the Triple C team is really pushed on ahead. That's Peter Kastrup and Sebastian Kuhn. Of course, it's going to be the 2 Europeans known for their power on the bikes. So we're starting off on the road here, but we are going off-road. That's why this is a mountain bike course. And Sebastian showing that he truly is at home, breaking into the corners, being very cautious. Oh, we had Erhan and Vanessa go out on crashes there. Pedro is giving Sebastian a run for his money. Oh, Peter. So we're following Homer here, who's following up in 3rd position. Oh, nasty crash there for Pedro. I'm just wondering what he did actually crash into there. It seemed a little bit far out from the corner. But we do have Homer here giving a run for his money to Pedro. So I think caders are going to want to play this route extra cautious today, because it seems like those corners are tighter in than they even appear. And it's claimed another victim in Homer. Sebastian, with these crashes, is just getting a huge lead, a huge advantage. And so what are we looking at the moment? 11-second lead. So that is a big one for sure. So Germany's Sebastian, he is just eating up the time here. But I can see those power numbers coming from Pedro pushing up to try and reclaim his chase position on Sebastian. So let's see what happens here. It's going to be interesting for sure. Oh, another crash there. Was that Pedro? Yeah, that was. So Peter taking the lead here in the chase group. Let's see what he can do. It looks like a 16-second lead time. Sorry, 14-second lead time. Oh, he's using his power plant. And he's keeping on the gas as well to really amp up the power boost that he would have got from the power plant, which is a great decision to go into. So back onto the road, which on a mountain bike in the real world, that would increase your rolling resistance. So the road actually isn't going to add on speed like it would on a road bike. That is actually going to slow you down. So maybe that's the point where a power plant might be advantageous, is on that short road section. So the ghosted out riders that they're passing there are bots. But if you pass a ghosted out rider, that's either somebody you've lapped or a rider that isn't moving. So we have Homer here, Peter, same team. And let's see if they're going to have any tactics, any draft tactics. Again, on a mountain bike, that just helps you to get more power in the draft, not really helping you ease up on the pedals. But that will still be advantageous for sure. And we have this narrow bridge that comes up. This is something that can catch out riders too. This is yet another obstacle that people are going to want to be careful of. So Homer and Peter both taken by these tight corners here. Pedro has certainly learned from his first mistakes in that first lap, and he is bringing in those corners tighter. So here we go. This is where Pedro might gain some of that time back and might be able to put in a nice big challenge to Sebastian. But Sebastian is for sure showing us that he is at home, really, like I've said before, on a mountain bike. And here we have Vanessa. Interesting choice. She's actually on the road bike for this. Not sure I would have made that choice. But, well, I have made that choice outside before, and I've been fine. So, not on a course as gritty as this one would have been, but it was like a fine grit, like a shale that I ride on with a road bike. So let's see if that pays off for Vanessa. So Pedro, here we go. He's putting in a lot of power, as you can see. Again, this is the Together Tech of Pro Power, which we've discussed many times here on the channel. And so the numbers you're seeing are the equalized numbers, the algorithmic numbers, but still a 500 watt number means that there is a good power being put up. And you can see here from the CADEsport 101, the edutainment, the infographics, if you will, that you can ride with who you want. And it's not based on race category as it is in other virtual platforms. So you can experience the inclusion, and you can experience that with the social immersion of the video conferencing, video call, and audio conferencing capabilities that CADEsport has. And it works with a wide array of devices as well, ranging from smart trainers right the way down to your entry-level fluid and mag trainers. So there is no real price barrier to entry here. And here we are. Sebastian has clearly heard my advice here to lower that rolling resistance of a mountain bike on the road section with his power plant. So really the Together Tech as well, to give another aspect to this, another aspect to the Pro Power mode, is that this is going to make who would be normally the winners out in the real world have to really gun it harder, because everyone is being equalized at their baseline. So pushing harder up to your threshold and really testing what your threshold is, pushing beyond what you know it to be, that's really going to be where you're going to show what you're made of and having to really give that chase into the game. So Pedro's putting in another challenge. He's eaten up some of that time for sure. Let's see if he can really give a go of this. So there were a number of crashes that we saw there, the red highlights. Peter has gone as well. And these do have a time penalty, which is 2.5 seconds, because we are in the medium difficulty, which everybody is in for the fairness of the race. So Sebastian here, we've now got the bots on the move, and you can see that they're ghosted. That's because he has lapped them. Erhan here, again, probably heard my advice, and he is gunning it with the power plant. Erhan's doing a great job of putting in some solid power here. Let's see if he can eat up some of that time and get back to the main group. This is the thing with the mountain bike courses and the obstacle courses, is once you've had some crashes, the group is not going to be a peloton for sure. It is going to be very fractured. Oh, did Sebastian crash? Oh, wow. Sebastian was flying. He was flawless right up until that point. So this might be the point where Pedro, who is currently 26 seconds behind, might be able to... And just making me eat my words as I'm saying them, we had a crash from Pedro right there. But a huge amount of power there. That was over 1,000 watts. Again, equalized. If it wasn't equalized, I think he'd be in a tour somewhere. But yeah, that was a huge amount of power we're seeing there. Eased off a bit, but let's see if we can get some chase power back. So Sebastian, again, showing his mountain biking skills in these corners, breaking through the corners, not into them, through the corners, and that seems to be the big thing here. Oh, and another nasty crash here with Pedro. Oh, it's a nail biter, because you want to see that second place chase. And he's managing to hold that time, managing to hold that gap, but it just seems to be sustaining at the moment, which is, I'm sorry to see, but let's see what happens. We do only have 1/3 of a kilometer left. But crazier things have happened. Pedro just looking really comfortable. Sebastian just looking really comfortable here. Here we go. As long as he doesn't hit any obstacles, he's going to be in the home stretch. And Sebastian, even just easing off on the pedals there to show how easy that was. Pedro taking these corners easy now. Fantastic stuff. So now he's just comfortably keeping his second place position. Fantastic decision at this point. Don't push it, don't challenge it. Just have it nice and comfortable to cross that finish line. Well done, Pedro. Fantastic stuff. Now, I'm wondering why we saw Sebastian's avatar do a kind of an animation that didn't look like a win animation. So Homer coming in for third. Vanessa's got a challenge coming in though. Oh, yeah, no. Comfortably taken by Homer. But Vanessa did eat up a huge amount of that gap right on the rear wheel of Homer there. Peter coming in for 5th place. Oh, I was going to say that looked a bit dicey. Yeah, taking this left edge seems to be a bit more tricky. Esma. Been a while since we've seen Esma. There we go. Good effort, Esma. So let's take a look at that leaderboard as other people cruise on in and as we wait to transfer over to map 2, race 2. So there we go, Sebastian Kuhn, like easily, what's that, 29 seconds ahead of Pedro. But Pedro put in some solid effort there. It's just a shame about those crashes. We could have seen a challenge that would have put Sebastian in the spot, sweating and showing what he's made of on those challenges. And then Homer, another 30 seconds behind Pedro. Vanessa coming in for 4th, Kay in for 5th, and then Peter, Esma going on from there. And we've got David as well from the, what's that group called? The West London group? The West London something. But yeah, let's take a look at jumping over to race 2. And this is going to be a road race. So we're going back to road bikes. Everybody's favorite, my favorite for sure. So let's take a look at what we are going up against today. And I made a mistake earlier. There are actually 2 versions of the map. I said that this was a very climb heavy map. I was actually incorrect. There are 2 versions. We have the 4 meters of climbing version. Then we have, I believe it's 60 meters of climbing version. We're on the 4 meter version today. So very easy. Even on the Smart Trainer, that's going to be almost nothing of climbing. So here we are. Let's see that power out of the gate. See what people are made of. Here we go. Kay as a road rider, a roadie. Peter as a roadie as well. This is where the power of a roadie comes to play. Esma, look at that power. Now she's just going to hold these corners good. Oh, fantastic. This is exciting to see. Esma putting in this big challenge. Keeping Peter on his toes. On his Dutch toes. So he's going to have to put some power through those crank arms for sure. Pedro, he's telling us he's not done. He's not out. Oh, Sebastian. This is where being a mountain bike rider might not be the best. He's trying to take the outside, but without taking the age-old wisdom of the draft to get that power. Is he going to cook himself before he gets to the end? Maybe, but maybe not, because he does have that extra power of a mountain biker's legs behind him. We've got David Tobin here from the West London group. And I've got a feeling he's holding something back in the tank. He's going to show us what he's made of. I'm sure with that group he's used to group rides and peloton rides outdoors, especially in the London area too. So a nasty crash there from Esma. Let's see if she can make up that time. We saw a lot of power coming out the gates. So hopefully she can stand on those crank arms to eat that lead that she has just lost back. Oh, Pedro and Peter. Toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder. It really is like watching the Summers Brothers going up against the Cannibal in one of my favorite movies, American Flyers. There we are. Peter in the Netherlands on his rollers. Fantastic on those rollers. Almost showing off. I'm just joking when I say that because he's just wonderful. We all wish as roadies that we were that skilled to be able to do that comfortably and look that good doing it. That's something that terrifies any roadie, the idea of rollers. Track cyclists will laugh at us, I'm sure. But Peter's making it look easy and telling those track riders where they can shove their laughter. So a number of crashes here, which again, this always levels the playing field, always changes the lead position. And when this happens, it always eats up the idea of a roadie peloton. And that has put Pedro very comfortably in the lead. But Sebastian, he's now saying without that peloton, this is where the power of a mountain bike rider comes into play. And he's really showing us some gas here. But Pedro's saying, wait for me. Wow, he does have some power in those legs, Pedro. Wowee. I know that's an equalized power, but holy hell, to be able to push that up to like 1,000 watts of power from 400, that's a lot of power in those legs. He must have got out the saddle, got into the drops. Oh, this is exciting. This is one of those nail biters like from the first week of the Pro Power preview races, way back in late November, where we just see one rider put in a challenge, they get in the lead, they hold a comfortable sweet spot, and then the other rider just charges, and vice versa, and on it goes. So they're holding their own in these corners here. These are some of the simpler corners in the race, but even so, you can wipe out by having too much power and drifting into them. And quite carefree going into the outsides of the corners too, which is like, wow, they're confident. So I wonder if they're taking the outside corners, if anyone's going to come up and do the dive bomb tactic from crit racing. It's a deadly, dangerous tactic, but one that can give a huge lead if timed correctly. So Pedro is creating a bit of a gap here. Sebastian holding his own though, keeping pace. It's like Pedro saying, you got me on race 1, but I'm back for you on race 2. Yeah, just stable, steady. They're keeping the same gap, the same distance from each other. Sebastian looks like he's putting in a bit of power, gunning it for trying to catch that rear wheel. And look at that power that Pedro's holding. Again, equalized power, but that's certainly going to be, I would assume, around about 300 watts of power real world. Peter is coming in for position number 3, but maybe even a challenge for second or first. Now, Peter is not using gyroscope with his smartphone, which is one of the options for your steering capability in-game. He is using a keyboard that you might be able to see when he comes up on webcam, attached to his handlebar set up on his road bike. Let's see if he can... Wow, Sebastian, wiped out right with that, and that's that 2,500 watts of power. So again, that 25 watts of power is huge, but it can be deadly, especially if you fire it into a corner. It's like being a speeding missile into a brick wall. And with that crash, Peter has claimed that second place crown from Sebastian, who is now quite a way behind. But he's gunning for some power though, so let's see what happens. And that has also meant that Pedro has got a very comfortable lead here, but Peter is saying, no way, Jose. Hope that's also Jose in Portuguese, otherwise that joke doesn't make sense. But there we go, Peter has just charged ahead, but I've got a feeling that Pedro, with all that power that he has in those legs, isn't done yet. And he is holding a comfortable draft behind Peter. There we go, look at that. That's that breakaway power coming into play. And look at that, Peter is putting in some solid effort on those crank arms. Looks like he's in a high tension gear. So high tension rather than fast feet. And as I said that, he's shifted down clearly, which is great work. Keeping that pedal stroke differentiated, keeps your legs nice and soothed. So clearly a very seasoned roadie in Peter. Clearly knows what he's doing. Also, it'll keep him nice and stable on those rollers too. So using it on a nice straight, he's heard my commentary here, and he's used the 25 watts of power, 2,500 watts, sorry, of power on a nice straight, so he's avoided that risk factor, and that's gave him a solid lead over Pedro. I don't think we've seen Pedro use the great responsibility power up yet, so I wondered if he's holding it for the final sprint. Solid tactic, but he's got to make sure that the lead time isn't too big at that point. Currently it's only 3 seconds. So good steering here from Pedro, good braking into those tighter corners, harder cornering, and then we'll see him be able to hold that shorter gap and even gun it back. And here we go. He's showing us those power in those legs again. But Peter for sure is showing us why the Netherlands is so well regarded for its roadies, its road cyclists. Look at that, the altering of that cadence, the revolutions per minute. That is a very skilled roadie for sure. Somebody who knows the age-old advice of, oh, there we go. And that's where the crash can really give somebody else an advantage, and the penalty can make you work harder. Seeing fast feet and now get into a high tension gear from Peter. High tension gear so that you can do more with less. So more power, less cadence. Oh, a double crash. So now this really is an almost equal fight to reclaim position, given that they both suffered the same time penalty. Oh, we just saw Peter begin to drift, but he clearly braked with the space bar on his keyboard just in time. Another tight corner. There we go, good braking. Solid chase power here. And Pedro is actually being able to kind of temper his power a bit because he's getting that draft benefit from Peter ahead of him. Oh, Sebastian, who actually had a huge penalty gap come up because he crashed at, unfortunately, the most inopportune place. He has clearly worked very hard, and if we had him on webcam, we could see. I don't think he is on webcam, however, but he's probably sweating. He's probably pushing his heart rate very high. So we're looking, 193 heart rate, so very high. He's definitely in the like zone 5, zone 6 of his heart rate, so the very upper limit. Although I don't know, some people can go above 200, I certainly can't. Pedro, oh, Peter wiped out as well, so this really is making it anybody's game for first, second and third. So we're seeing the other group is about 35 seconds behind David Tobin in the lead. So he is their draft maker. 29 seconds now with these crashes. I'm wondering if we can see how hard they're working, see how hard they're pushing to catch up. Oh wow, so this is a broken up group as well. I thought this was going to be a draft group for sure, peloton. Got a lot of power here. Esma is pushing. Vanessa is catching her rear wheel. Getting some draft, probably looking to slip around, do a bit of a slingshot with that draft power. Oh, Peter again using it on a straight. Very good place of use for the 2500 watts. Again, something that would even make tears of jealousy run down a Tour de France rider's face, I'm sure. So we've got 1.4 Ks left. So that means we're deep into this second lap. And we are going to be watching some nail biters of challenges, I'm sure, coming in this final 1.4 Ks. Although a solid lead at the moment from Peter. Sebastian holding steady power. I'm wondering if he has cooked himself. That can happen. You can just go a bit too hard. I did. If you watched the race on Thursday, I went too hard, too fast, and I just had to hold that place between the two pelotons. I didn't have any of the draft benefits, so that was all me, and I was hurting. I was in a high tension gear as well, trying to do more for less. So I was at a 85 cadence. No, I wasn't. I was at a 95 cadence. So still a pretty high cadence for high tension. But certainly when my fast feet can be 114 RPM, I was certainly doing less for sure. Oh, Sebastian really put in the challenge here, making me eat my words. I'm sure Peter's not out of the race yet though. We've seen Peter's power as a roadie before. But look at that gap Sebastian has going now. Again, this is the cornering and handling skills of a mountain bike rider, which can be advantageous in the roadie world too. Some of the best road riders in the Tour de France are the ones who can avoid crashes because they started as a mountain bike rider. So here we go. And Sebastian, again, 2 races in a row. But Pedro, in both races, and Peter both being in the top 3. So again, showing their might, showing their worth, showing that they have teeth in this thing. So Homer chasing up on Pedro. Homer again, solid power always. He started way down the peloton, and you can see that solid power by breaking all the way up to 4th. Esma's put in some great effort. She fell right the way behind, but has now got up to 6th. Oh, here we go. Homer comfortably keeping on to his 4th place position, using the great responsibility. David as well, comfortably rolling over that finish line. And Esma taking those corners comfortably, knowing that she doesn't want to lose that place. Although she might want to gun it now if she doesn't want the challenge. There we go, bringing up that power and a nice comfortable roll over that finish line. Vanessa coming over as well, which is possibly a good point for us to jump to the leaderboard as the rest of our riders roll in. So, wow, what a nail biter that was for first, second, and third. Sebastian barely a second, well, almost 2 ahead of Peter. And Pedro, unfortunately, with those crashes, falling a bit behind, comfortably close to Peter, but quite a bit behind Sebastian, who was an outsider for a good amount of that race after that nasty crash with the great responsibility power up in that very tight corner. Homer coming in for 4th, David in 5th, Esma 6th, Vanessa 7th, and Kay making up the final segment of the 3 riders of the CCC, Cool, Calm and Collected team, in 8th place. All right, so riders are going to be sweating and heaving and in their VO2 max now for sure, but there's no rest for the wicked. We're jumping over to Barnyard Velo, which is also a fairly recent, fairly new map here on CADEsport, a mountain bike map. So let's see what riders have in store. This is going to be handling heavy, handling centric today. All right, so again, we're watching the warm-up that riders have. The ability to take advantage of here, and we're seeing it from this lovely drone or helicopter shot overlooking the barn that gives it its eponymous name for the Barnyard Velo map. Sebastian again, holy hell, showed us his leading power as a mountain bike rider on a mountain bike map. So all of these hay bales, just as I was beginning to queue it up to see it, somebody makes it easy for me to jump into. These hay bales are the obstacles here, and they're tight. This one I found incredibly difficult on Thursday. I was using the gyroscope, Was I braking hard enough? Was I pedaling too hard in the high tension gear? Probably both of those things. So riders here might actually want to ease up on their pedal stroke coming into the corners as well as braking. Your braking is a percentile as you hold down the button, tap the button. And that means you can actually temper the brakes as you would with levers in the real world, both on V-brakes, or rim brakes if you will, and disc brakes. Disc brakes, however, have a very hard bite point. Oh, and here we go, queued up for the CADEsport 101 infographic. So you can use the co-app or the companion app by scanning the QR code as you come into CADEsport. And that will give you the web-based, which means it's less data heavy on your smartphone than an app. And that will give you the controls where it can work on the gyroscope if you have a phone mount for attaching it to your handlebars, which is great. I use that, it's fantastic, love it. So Homer's taken the lead here, really showing Sebastian that, wait, you don't have to be a mountain bike rider to have some good power here, some good handling too. Pedro putting in a solid challenge. So this might be interesting. Perhaps a roadie will usurp a mountain bike rider. Then us roadies will finally get to rub it in the faces of mountain bike riders. Like, oh yeah, we're not as powerful as you. So we've got 700 meters left. That's why I love metric. If it's point something of a kilometer, it's just whatever 100 meters. So here we go, Homer still comfortably keeping that lead. Pedro is trying to wheel out. Oh, we've got the power-ups coming into play. So this is the corner caper, which protects you in those cornerings. And Sebastian has used that to get ahead. So that means he can put the power into the crank arms coming into the corner without having to worry about braking or easing up. Homer's keeping cool, calm and collected, much like his team name here. So let's see if he can hold this challenge up. And he is quite comfortably. Oh, Sebastian just clawed it away from Homer. A very solid effort from Homer. So Kay here crossing the finish line as well. And then Esma coming in for 5th place. Holding good stable cornering at the moment. Really taking on the advice of easing into these corners, because it's the crashes that will give you the time penalties. There we go, comfortable rolling over that finish line. So Sebastian claims all 3 races. It's like, geez, Zeb, give somebody else a chance. And then we have Homer here, like a 200th of a second behind Sebastian. That was fantastic effort there from Homer. And then Pedro in 3rd. And we saw Kay move up those rankings across 3 races. We saw Esma move up across those 3 races. Solid power and a solid progression up the ranking from Esma. So Esma is one to watch for sure, and hopefully we're going to see more from her. And Peter Kastrup in the 3rd race fell way behind. Again, this map really shows who's the roadies and who's the skilled mountain bike riders. So fantastic efforts from everyone, and yeah, look at that, Sebastian, all 3. We had Pedro in the top 3 on all 3 of the races, Homer in the top 3 in 2 of them. Peter was very solid in race 2, where he didn't rank in the first, second, or third. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out then. He pushed right the way up to second in race 2 and really showed us some impressive power, impressive handling, and fantastic stuff. So it's been a pleasure to join you today. I really hope you've enjoyed today's races. I sure as hell did. I was on the edge of this very seat that I'm sitting on, and I hope you will come and join us for the next live broadcast, which will be advertised both on the CADEsport app itself, but also on the CADEsport Facebook page. All right, thank you and have a great day.